Hello and welcome to Sounds Heal Podcast. I am your host, Natalie Brown, and thank you so much for joining me as we continue to explore fields of sound healing, sound therapy, and generally the use of sound for health and wellness. This episode continues the series on instrument makers, and for this podcast, we're joined by Madhava and Margherita of Grotta Sonora, well-known instrument gong makers from Italy. And I think what you'll find from this conversation, and actually what I found getting to meet them in person a few years back in 2019, is that they are as magical and vibrant and radiant as the gongs they make. They really put their spirit, their energy and intention into the gongs. Very iconic looking gongs that they make. So we learn more about them, their background, how they connected, how they met, and what developed, the experimentation that it took to get to where they are now and these beautiful instruments that they make. They give some advice on gong playing as well as some new things, new projects, experimentations. And it's just a really great way to get to know these magicians, these beautiful people behind the Grotta Sonora gongs. This episode is sponsored by the Om Shop and Spa, located in Sarasota, Florida. If you're ever lucky to go there, you will see that they have the country's largest showroom of vibrational tools, crystal bowls, so many amazing sound healing instruments. They also have a luxury spa, and they have trainings, workshops, sound journey events there. But even if you can't go there in person, you can head to theomshop.com or give them a call if you're ever looking for something specific, if you're looking to match certain frequencies and tones. They're really helpful and there to offer you suggestions and advice. So thank you so much to the Om Shop for your sponsorship of this podcast. And please enjoy this episode with Madhava and Margherita of Grotta Sonora. Okay, Madhava and Margherita, thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited to have the audience learn more about you. So thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting us. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, for giving us the chance to have this little talk together.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of things that I want to talk about will be about what you're doing now, but actually I thought it would be nice to start with you as individuals and your background, the things that brought you to what you do now. So Madhava, I'll start with you. Would you tell us about your background a little bit, perhaps as a musician or artisan, percussionist, and maybe just the things that led you to this?
Sure. So basically, I had the luck. I was a lucky person. I grew up going in India a lot with my family, and that's definitely something that bring myself closer to the music during all these years. First of all, sorry for my English, little like that, but anyway, I will try to share my best. What was my experience? Anyway, the music was really part of my life, and I started with some percussion, and I hear a lot of different melody and ragas in India, and then at one point I also started to experiment to build some little instruments like flutes or some percussion, some strings instruments using different material. Was part of me. To have already this little curiosity to find out new experiment, from the beginning, and also because I didn't have the money at that time to buy instruments, and I was like, okay, let's try to make one, so it was like really interesting to experiment, yeah. So one of the first instruments I had in my house was a didgeridoo, actually, totally out from what we are doing now, but was a strong frequency, and already, my parents opened myself already into the world of the music, and I was a lucky person for that. And that's also how we and Margherita met, through the music. Yeah, we actually, I was jamming around in Rome, doing some buskers, like playing
with friends, like buskers, but really just enjoying playing music out in the street, with also people joining and dancing like this.
Yeah.
And so we met in that kind of environment.
Yeah, so I hear Margherita singing, and I realize, whoa, what a nice voice, and through the music we connect, and that was a great experience, because we really did this connection together, this how to say, when you are in two person together, and you do something with love, become really strong, so
you share a path and a passion together. So that's what brought us together, and it's what is leading also our paths together. Yeah. So on my side, to say a little bit, I mean, I don't have such a big history. I just used to sing all my life. Also, I grew up with a lot of music in the house. My father, for example, he was working for the Italian national radio, so he was organizing concerts like this. And so I also had a lot of music, from classical music, rock music in the house every day. So, and then like this, we met through the music.
And the mother and the grandmother were all singer, like they have a really old, strong voice, So
I have someone in the family like being an opera singer in Italy. Yeah. And like this, but I never thought about building an instrument, but I always was a really creative person. I always liked to paint, to build, to sculpture. So when we met, we had in common not only the music, but also this craftsmanship.
Yeah, definitely. That's something. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that also in the gong making and everything. But definitely, it's a really great combination, because what I can do, she do. What she can do, I do, and it's great. And from the beginning, we literally start together to hammer the first piece of metal,
because in the beginning, when I met him, we were pretty young. Also, he was like 25 and I was still 19 when I met him. And I remember he was kind of building some experimental flutes with recycled material like PVC tubes. And then we explored a little bit, and then one day Madhava.
I mean, that's if you have other question, like, but we can, we from that day we met the gongs. One day we met the gongs, because I remember I was doing some electronic music in the meantime, experimenting with also some,
And we didn't know anything about sound healing first.
Not really about sound dealing. We were not like conscious about how it was working. Of course, going in India, for me, there was a lot of spiritual connection through the music, the meditation. And I had always that feeling that the music is healing for everybody, okay? But, we started to make the gongs also without having any idea about how the gong was really working or which was the way. We were just curious. And I was telling, like, we were doing some electronic music, also experimenting, how the frequency work and stuff like that. But when I hear the first time the sound of a gong with the flumi, I was like really shocked, really impressed, it was like
a natural synthesizer.
Natural synthesizer, something, like really new for me. I discovered these layers the gong have, this how deep the sound can be, So I saw this 3D dimension in front of me, like a Stargate. I don't know how to describe, but it was a funny situation because the guy was a hang drum maker and he had a couple of gongs on the wall, and he just literally opened this little luggage with flumi, and he showed me this sound, and I was okay, done.
That's it.
That's it,
Because in that period, he was also experimenting with many synthesizers and vintage ones with a friend of him. So he just trashed everything.
I mean, I put everything on side and I say, okay, like,
This is the real one. This is where everything is coming from.
It's containing all this frequency inside that was really interesting. So we went to get some piece of metal, just and that was cool because like I mean, that usual gong is bronze, nickel, silver, or other quality stuff, but when you don't know nothing, you really go to check with your experience what these metals sound like, what this metal property, and all that. Of course, if you have teachers, sometimes it's great because you can just direct go where you want to go in some, and skip some many come dice, errori, mistakes you can do and stuff. But I can tell you, like, the mistakes is something so
helpful that makes you grow and learn so much.
You learn from your mistakes. Yeah. So you kind of described, the early experiments. You were using recycled materials to make other instruments, and then you had this experience with a gong, and then everything else was kind of set aside. Now, did you try these different metals initially, the an iron or the nickel and all that? And how did you come across and really decide that you wanted to use a steel alloy? How did you decide that?
So
in the beginning, we were using simple iron because that was what we could afford. And also in the beginning with gongs as well, we were using recycled materials, but also aluminum. So everything we could find. So in
the beginning, we were, we had what we were feeling was our ear, and working to the metal, we were discovering the layers of different frequency they can have inside, the sustain, the color of the sound, the clean, how the sound is clean. The point was like that. I believe that every single metal, have its property and can be tuned. A gong of different metal can be tuned according of the property of the metal. So I love also the nickel silver gongs. They have a really deep way to emanate the sound, but I find like more difficult to use the gongs how we use it. With flumi, we have this different approach using also the gong a lot with the flumi, so, and we're going to talk about also these, how the gong is built and the concept of the gong. So we went to this metal that actually contain a little percentage of the titanium and little percentage of nickel too, so we were like looking for, so it was like really step by step to change the metal, and at one point you say, okay, that's what I like, that's what is,
which has the qualities I like, and then I can use the best, and that represents the best, the kind of sound that I would like to have from a gong. Because this is the point where you don't learn, but you find your own way to make a gong and to make it sound. You
have the option to decide what you want to do, where you want to go.
I also think that the colors that this metal gives you attracted us really much, because they give you so much possibilities.
That's
like you have golden and blue, and these all come naturally from the metal when we heat it with the fire.
I was going to say that something also really part of, first of all, there is the sound that's always the main energy that is guiding all that. But then you have the colors and the heart that we can impress into every gongs, and this is kind of addicted for us. It's really like, and we get bored if we go in something that is too looping, So it's really
always doing the same decoration, same thing. We have so many designs because of that.
So these colors is kind of connect to the the general. We see the colors are similar to the sound sometimes. So like they want to jump out of the gong.
You can also say that as a sound is colorful. So we like to say that the gong is as colorful and in the sound, but also in the look, kind of.
Yeah, maybe talk a little bit about that process of gong making, but I kind of feel like it goes hand in hand with the cave Grotta Sonora as well, like how that kind of influenced your project. But if you could talk a little bit about, maybe it's those learning experiences initially, but now you really have down the way you construct them, the timing of when the art and decorations happen, and kind of your vision that developed through that. But I don't know, maybe you want to talk about the cave first.
Yeah, let's start. Let's start about the cave.
Yeah.
Just how we start from that. It was basically when we start making the gongs. We made 4 gongs, 40-inch gongs.
40-inch gongs, but also we immediately created also the leaf as well, because we not only created gongs, but we liked to have the material to experiment, like bending, and how can we make it resonate, so.
And so when we started making these instruments, we were like, okay, where are we gonna use them? And so in the same time, different years ago, my father got this place in this very amazing town close by our house. Is a medieval, like Etruscan town with different caves, really natural place, with the forest around. So my father found this cave, and we decided to buy this place in some way, from these 2 country people they had, from years. So the cave in herself is an Etruscan cave that, has been used in the years from.
Etruscans was a population living in this area in the north of Rome, between Rome and Tuscany, before Romans. So they used to live in caves. And so that's not a natural cave, the one we have, but it was built from this population.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool to be in a place so old. And then, of course, in the years, it has been used for from different, people, and even from hippies on the 70s, hippies were living in, artists and stuff like that. So many stories inside. But so my father got the place, we worked into the cave, and we were using basically to do some yoga and some programs, music programs, but it was not easy to run the place. There was a lot to do, and the project never starts fully, So when we realized that, like the gongs that we made and the instrument we were thinking to do were great to do, to make them inside the cave, to bring them inside the cave, we really had this vision, like the sound cave, that was the Grotta Sonora means, so we, the cave is 4 cave connected, 4 rooms. So it's like you go in and it looks like a hobbit house, it's really like amazing. There is no phone connection. You are totally out. You are in Mother Earth. And every corner we can see, we can put a gong there, and then a leaf over there, and then a sitting bowl and a big stuff there. It was like bam, explosion. And we literally spent full summer.
I was also going to college. I didn't give any exam that summer, nothing, just focusing on the cave, on experimenting.
Great.
And also Calcata is a pretty touristic small town, so this gave us also the opportunity to open the cave during the weekends for people just randomly coming and showing people the gongs and these strange sounds that people is maybe not used so much to have, because it was coming not only people interested about sound, but all kind of people, and
and we were also really ignorant about many dynamics, but then we started to see how the people react to this different sound. And we also, we were going at home after, a full afternoon of sound, and we were like, wow, I feel different, and I was really starting to feeling happy. Was not easy in the beginning, but of course, to start this project. But I was doing another work in my life. And the reality, of course, when you don't do what you like, it's so hard. You get depressed and I'm really grateful to have this opportunity to meet the sound in this way, and the cave, even if it was so unexpected, this cave in the middle of the nature change our destiny. And I believe, it's a general domino effect, to many people, because then these sounds, these gongs are going in other place, and harmonize other place. So I feel this is something really strong is happening. That's why we thank you to give us the opportunity to share that. So we make the cave full of instruments. We spent a full summer there. The feedback was really great. And then we basically, I still remember I get up really early to go to work, and I put some gongs on eBay the first time, like, let me try to sell a gongs. I don't know, I was really inexpert also about eBay and this stuff that actually we don't use anymore. But then, I saw one gong was sold to Mexico on the other side of the world, and I was like, whoa, really? Like, incredible.
How do we pack it? How do we do that?
Everything was like really new for us. And I started understanding that maybe can give us the opportunity to change our life, and the online sharing was good channel to,
Also in the beginning, the feedback from people was really, really important for us to let us understand how to work better, to smooth a little bit the sound. Of course, then during the years we changed the metal, so many techniques and dynamics, so we learned so much.
So we're really grateful again to this gift we received. So that's where we, after we saw that maybe we can live out of art and and the sharing of that, and I advise to do this to every artisan, or try to everybody to see what can be our quality, what are our quality, and try to use them, especially now that the world is going upside down in some way, so we need to go back to what we can do with our quality. So that's where we start making the gongs, and of course was not, what I can say was not because I sold a gong online that I, okay, let's make them because we want to sell many gongs and do the, no, was definitely like, let's do this new design because, oh, look, this is so cool, and this, look at that, and this, and making
it was
an
experimentation.
Yeah,
and really experimental.
And Margherita over there from the beginning, like really was everything balanced, even in the beginning she was hammering with me the gongs, start to hammering, and I was okay, like, please don't do the hammering part because then you're gonna become like it's too heavy, but just to let you know, she's so strong, is really strong woman, like amazing, and that's definitely important for us for this moment to have a strong team.
Still right now that's mostly just the two of us doing all the work,
mostly, yes.
So this keeps help us to keep the quality high. This way we can put all our passion and love in every single instrument, but it can be
so connecting to the gong making, okay, and it's also connecting what you're saying. We don't want, of course, other people make the process that we usually do, and we don't want to lose, of course, the magic and the intention that you can really put when you do every single gong. So we have a guy helping us in some of the process, but it's just
mostly just the very first bending of the metal, which is most hard. So then the decoration, the tuning especially, it's something that we cannot delegate.
Oh yeah, all that,
It's really hard for us because it's really an artistic expression for us.
So for the tuning, we don't use any machine
Also to see the tuning, it's all done by ear.
Usually you can, yeah, I mean, you can use a different tuner to check that. But I experienced that, and sometimes if somebody want a gong tune in a specific frequency, we do that. But mostly of the time I really follow the ear, because you have to really check in the creation of the gong, the final harmony, and the balance of these different layers you have inside of the gong, okay? So the gong, so let's, keep talking about the tuning, when we tune them, you really have different, it's like when you tune a drum, okay, you have one skin, you have harmonics inside the skin, you have the bass in the center, the higher harmonics on the side. But when you tune the drum, you tune just on one ring, okay? When you have to tune a gong, you have different ring that you have to work with, so one ring inside to another, and that creates a full balance of this surface that is actually attached on these two point, to the rope, and is in balance in the air, and the rings inside are in balance of themselves, so it's a full game of tension, and that's where you can decide if you want to have a gong where the frequency of the bass is more in the front or is more in the back. So it's interesting, at one point when you can start controlling a beat, and where you want the sound, okay? So these specific gongs with this metal gave us the opportunity to set up some specific notes around the gong, okay? And they become print, every single hammering is like you're printing a note over there, So that's where I tell you, the intention is so connected, looks like Tai Chi sometimes, because you are over there in front of the gong, and maybe the last hammering, sometime in the front, sometime in the back, sometime on the side, bam, you unlocked the Stargate, I don't know, the door, the sound.
I also think that there is a sacred geometry behind the hammerings you do in the tuning of a gong. For example, mandalas, they are the geometrical representation of sound. And I think the same, so you're just imprinting that kind of sound and the intention inside the gong, which I believe is beautiful. That
yeah, it's
will
interesting.
Always be there.
It's a 3D way. It's a way to tune something, because you have these different layers, and it's exactly what the gong contains, because the gong contains this long reverb with some specific notes, some frequency that you don't expect, and then you can see that, you can listen some, strong, amazing sound that, and it's interesting because the metal, the metal is if you get a piece of metal and you play the metal, it's like, it usually don't have a really sweet sound, okay? Is a heavy, even in the process of the making, is so heavy, the sound, because
so noisy,
so much noise to generate something sweet in the end. And we like to see this in the life, because in your life can be really hard, but if you try to bend and try
with the right intention, passion,
you can make maybe sound good what something that was sounding bad, okay?
Yeah, and it's almost what makes each gong unique. Even if you made several of the same style and size, they would each have a bit different intention or quality. And so I almost think it would be harder to make something of a specific frequency, right? Because otherwise you're just allowing the gong to be whatever it wants.
Yeah.
So does it take more work to make it a specific frequency then?
According of the gong, I mean, now I'm becoming pretty confident on the tuning. And I'm really the last maker here. I was so ignorant. I'm still so ignorant, but I'm just following what the gong try to talk, to say,
But of course, also every the diameter that we do
Have
has
a
a
range.
different range. So you can, there are some notes that in that kind of size resonates the best, so we usually.
Even if sometime, and that's a good moment to share that, when I'm doing the tuning, I have some, let's say, big gongs sometime in the tuning, and they are really high, because they are really high sometime, and I have to keep them down lower. And sometimes the high one in a big gong is so cool, but of course, I don't share so much, because everybody expects from a bigger gong maybe a deeper sound. But it's interesting, I like to have sometimes my gongs tuned in a different way, in a expected way, or whatever, and do experiment.
Or on the other side, sometimes that we can make also a small handheld gong with a really low sound that you didn't expect.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens.
So the process in the colorful, as Margherita was telling, is about fires, and the different temperature keep the gongs going in the different colors. It doesn't affect to the sound. We use also a process of water and fire to basically make the gum become stronger. I mean, not stronger, it's a temper. I don't know how to say, but like, so it's interesting. More you do that, and more the composition of the metal change and become actually more to
similar to
crystal composition, and yeah. So I try also to combine different material with the gongs, and we're going to talk about that, about the different experiment. And I also try with crystal. I use some crystal rods on the gongs, and the crystal like really transmit really well the sound to the metal, so they are good friends.
And then when we tried to strike the gong, the crystal rod exploded.
I was, maybe this is dangerous. Yeah, like
until we were doing the opposite, like it was working. But I mean, we like to experiment because I mean, we're curious, so it's always really fun to find new dynamics.
Yeah, so that's also what happened in the cave. Was fun because we bring the first instruments inside, and was like the first 4 instruments were naturally tuned together, and there was the leaf and the gong and
we didn't expect purpose, nothing.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, this is so sacred, like this, so like really what I was not expecting, like, and
we believe in the law of attraction, because for us it worked really, really much. So we thought it was also that coming.
Yeah, I mean, something really magic, from the beginning, so we use this gong in so you can see maybe that we don't use the classic way to play them. We approach this gong in a different way.
Of course, because the tuning is different, since we haven't learned from anyone how to tune a gong, but we find our own way. We found our own way also to how to play them. So
yeah, for different reasons. First of all, because we come from the background of musicians, so we like to use them a lot also for the music.
Because respect, maybe from a Paiste gongs, where I like to say they have a nebula kind of sound, where you have different frequencies going around, which is totally complementary to our,
sometimes they sound great kind of together.
Because our gongs, they have more of a strong fundamental note, which is really good for musicians to play with the violin, like we did with you at the Gong Summit, to sing on it or to match with any instrument you want.
Yeah, they are tuned. They contain, of course, many frequency, but the way we tune, we set the fifth, the octaves in some specific point. So if you learn and you learn the techniques, and the right flumi, you use the right flumi, you can really control the gong as a full instrument, So it's like you have a guitar and then you have a sitar. They have different techniques, but they are also two strings instruments, but different techniques, So I really love, to experiment all kind of gongs, that's what I advise. We don't like to have a closed mentality and say, these are the gongs, the best, or definitely not. We like, that's what we like, is to create set for us and for people who want to do that.
To have a variety of sounds.
Yeah.
Can match together, and also the most important thing, that they are tuned together. They are in harmony, because sometimes people don't have these understanding of different gongs tuned on different notes, but when you have a set of instruments tuned together, you can feel the difference.
I like to talk about this sometime. I love when the instruments are tuned, when there is a little study about that. But also, I believe you can mix the sound sometime, and I have your experience. But of course, the harmony is something bringing you easier in some specific point, the melody, the harmony of the, two chords between a singing bowl and a gong can bring you exactly in some specific point in an easier way, faster, So that's why I like more that. I like all this game of resonance that happen in the air when these instruments start talking together, and how, when they are perfectly tuned, they support each other, they like cooperate in the air, So when you start having this relationship with your instruments, and you really do your research and build your set, that can take years, to build your exactly what you want, and so I advise to everybody to try to go deeper, also to check. If you don't have the ear to recognize what you have in front of you, maybe, of course, feel with your heart. Sometimes you can easily recognize when two gongs are tuned together, or because wow, But to go deeper on that side,
We're always really happy to help anyone to build their own set and to understand which gong can fit the best.
So we didn't expect that. So again, we are really grateful to everybody, because in Italy it was difficult to grow the project, and in some way, from outside we received a really great support
and so much love
so much love, and I see this is not about me and Margherita, it's about, the sound and the power of this sound that is not is so pure, that is not I don't know how to say, it's not a religion that sometimes people have difficult to go close to some specific philosophy, or they don't want to go in, be close in some fanatic or whatever. The sound is so grateful to everybody that you don't need to talk, you just need to listen, and bring all that, and it's naturally working on us, and to who have closer. It's interesting. One time I was in the traffic in Rome, and I was watching around me, everybody were sad, and I had a flute on the chair close to me. I just bring with me, and then I start playing this flute. It was a Chinese flute with a kind of funny sound, but really cool. I start playing and waiting the traffic to moving, and then I watch around me again, and everybody were like smiling, to listen to the music. It's funny how this resonance
changes the mood completely.
Yeah, so I believe we need that a lot,
Yeah. You can't help that it will affect you. Yeah, you just can't help it. Just suddenly your mood has changed. Yeah, and I think that's true about the gongs. There's so many frequencies and harmonics in the gongs that depending on how you're feeling, it kind of reflects your energy, that it can shift you as well. And I'm kind of curious how the tongue gong and the harp gong, of course, those can be more melodic. How did those come about?
They come basically from the old experiment I was doing, because we were building some harp, some
Yeah,
with
before
the
to
wood,
make gongs.
with wood.
Yeah, we were making some kind of tempuras and
some tank
santoors.
drums, experimenting with random material. That was the point, and that helped me then to again be free to say, hey, let's, the gong is something, again, you print a specific frequency inside from the front of this flat surface, so, and stay there. It's different from a drum. I don't know how to describe that, but I had this feeling that all this frequency, also with the flumi, the way how they start vibrate, I had that feeling that we can go deeper to find the way to make resonate the gong, the surface, because it's really a game of balance that is there. Sometimes you can use a small flumi and you start to play the exactly octave of the fundamental, and then the low frequency start vibrating like a big monk doing a big om, so it's like whoa, there is a lot to discover, and that was interesting. So we started to attach stuff, different strings, or
because basically also when you talk, you can hear the gongs resonating with your voice and what is going on around. So we made the shift. Oh, the gong can be a sound box, a resonator, resonate with strings or whatever. We also attach like springs to the gong, to singing bowls and drums, whatever.
I can say we are doing our progress, of course, right now. We are trying different kind of new gongs and stuff. Right now, there is more experimenting. We are keeping more in quality again the sound, and revisiting again the instruments we already made. So try to keep them more in quality. So I would like to have more time in the future with Margherita to go back in more the experiment of generating new sound. We have many ideas in our mind. It's just about, of course, time and yeah, mostly that. I still, by the way, I want to share with everybody the way I met you, Natalie. Like, when we were in the Gong Summit and we start jamming together with the gongs, was really great. And I still remember when, I was not, I didn't expect when you start playing the violin, I really felt like you literally touched the strings of my heart, something like, bam, and I started kind of feeling to cry, something really strong. And that made me remember how every, instrument can have, according of the intention, we can really communicate with everybody. And that's something we share everybody in that time, and was strong. Nobody can be late, so we thank you for that, so
for
that beautiful moment, so we went through also some other instruments into the cave, and we use actually also what pushed us to experiment was the different rooms we have into the cave. So we were like, let's create something for this space or something for there. So we were really free to again, in our ignorant vision, to experiment, and we did again many mistakes, so like I was sharing when we met each other in the Gong Summit, we were sharing about the Cosmo decoration,
that one.
Yeah, we used to do this really abstract. Yeah. So basically, when you do the gongs, it's also meditation. You have to be kind of careful, because before you do the fireworks, if any
drop was wet, because also when the metal, before to heat it with the fire, it's like silver color, and maybe there is a drop or a fingerprint, you don't see it, but then with the
you can't really see what's going on, but you have really be like a monk, and I'm not really a delicate person. I'm like a little rude, so I was like sometime, big work, and then the gongs was like one steam or something happened, and I was okay. One day I was basically drinking the coffee in the studio with her, And I decided to put some coffee on the gongs, some other stuff too, you know, and then I was like, yeah, let's try. And then bam, you know, the Cosmo, you know, came out, and I was like really happy because it's exactly what I was looking for, to go out of something that what I was sharing before, you go in loop and you want to experiment more, you know. So we discovered the harp gong, you know, it's a 6 strings on top of this gong. You know, every time we made many of them right now, but still it's like we are trying to keep them better and better in what we can do, you know. And it's interesting, you know, but because when you tune these strings with the balance of the tension that is already into the gong, you have really something special, you know. And that's what we grew up also with, you know. I personally grew up with this Indian music, the harp, the sound of the strings. So this combination of strings and the lower sound of the lower frequency of the gong is something really complete, you know, in some way. Of course, there are more complicated, you know, they are more complicated, and we don't advise to new people that want to go into this world to start with a harp gong.
Because there are different dynamics going on inside of it, and but I think it's so beautiful, the harmony it creates inside, because the harp string, you can tune, it has tuning pegs, so you can tune whatever harp scale you prefer. But when you tune the scale on the fundamental of the gong, every string calls an overtone from the tuning of the gong, so it creates really such a beautiful resonance that you don't have otherwise.
I have to thank you, you know, many people, you know, to give us the inspiration to finalize this prototype, because the harp gong was for a year, I think.
No, more than 1 year.
More than 1 year on a side, you know, on the studio, because we did an experiment and I was there. And then, you know, we got invited in US from Michelle to share, you know, the gong with Mitch Noor in the Gong Summit. And we also had the great support from our friend Joshua from New York. So he's a great person, you know. Some people really had the vision with us. We still want to have this vision where we would like to create other space like the cave, you know, but really we don't want to go for something commercial, you know, that, you know, even if there is a lot of requests, we I don't know, it's like, you know, we don't want to go for something that become lose every, you know, magic and emotion, you know, because it become really like without the soul, you know. It's like a body without the soul inside, a robot. Exactly, you know, we don't want that. So thanks to, you know, this special soul, and something we didn't receive probably so much in Italy in the beginning, you know, we really came to the Gong Summit and everybody were
loving, supporting.
And for us, coming from our reality where she were just finished the university, so also beginning for a new life for her. And for me, coming from, you know, like 10 years of this work that I was becoming kind of depressed to see, you know, this happen is again a big gift. So that's why we really do that with this mood, you know, try to do that with this, you know.
Yeah, it's like a magical combination of things, you know, that the cave and the experimentation and the spark at the Gong Summit. Yeah, I can't imagine you ever becoming like a large corporation and assembly line and all that. I mean, it really is about that hands-on intent that you put behind, that the two of you put behind each instrument. That's a huge part of what draws people to your gongs, is the magic and personality behind it.
And I mean, we're so grateful for people that supports our work. And you know, sometimes when they receive a gong from us and they have a piece of our souls in their house, in their studios, and they tell me sometimes it happens, it's a little bit like, I know you guys, you know. And I think it's absolutely true, because we really this is a huge part of our life.
So if you want to know what we do, basically also here we do gongs all day long and experimentation, of course. But Margherita is taking care also a lot of the communication with everybody, talking personally with everybody, and also the mom of Margherita is helping us right now. Just to let you know that we like to keep this in a way that we can follow, like, and do it in our best. We have a really kind of gypsy studio. I don't know how to say, like really simple studio in the middle of a field, where we have two cows. I grew up vegetarian, and also she's vegetarian from different years. So we have two cows that we save, and they are exactly in the field where we work, and we make the gongs over there. So it's a simple studio. I'm really packed with the space. I'm trying to do more space, but again, we see that it's not important how big you want to go, and more big and stuff like that. You want to keep that. It's just back of my house. We don't get the car anymore. Like it's like really something you want to do. Be able to consumare, come si dice,
to consume, be in the circle loop of consuming or becoming bigger, and then
or whatever, so that's something really great.
Sometimes it crossed our mind to take a bigger space or like this, but we're so grateful to be in the nature. You just come out of the studio and there is the cow laying down on the grass, and you just cuddle her.
Sometimes the cow come in and they kiss all the gongs, and that's trouble, because then I have to make them again and stuff. But I see like blessing.
In India, for Indian culture, they are sacred animals. So it's like a blessing on the work.
So we like to get inspiration from everything we have around. We did a cow gong, we did some gongs with cymbals inside, and I can share with you that the cymbals, also when I do the tuning with Marge, bring the gongs in some other point. It's like every gong have a special shakti. I don't know how to describe special mood, that
they have different, like, personality, their own souls.
It's interesting, and every time, I promise, we have a studio now here with different gongs. Sometimes we record them, and every day we still are shocked sometimes from the sound of some specific gongs, because of course, in the middle of 30 gongs, sometimes you have one that is totally different, and you're like, whoa, look at that one. Where you can go also, and you discover, new things. We also try to use the small gongs into the water, and it's interesting. You can, the metal we are using is giving a lot of opportunity in the experimentation. That's something. Also motivation, that's why we want to keep to use that.
It is resistant to water, for example, which is really good, and you can have this amazing sound effect and modulation.
So the idea of the cave is to create space like the cave around, so we are so basically our intention, of course, is to try and to find cool people to cooperate with, but again, not with the commercial approach too much.
There are to create sound scapes.
Try to do that. Of course, we have a couple of bigger resellers that they have more the approach through the online and the e-commerce or stuff like that, but they're cool people in any way. We try to make sure that this also in the sharing, keep the energy that we have in the cave, because then we would like to invite people to come visit us in the cave. So we are looking for a space to run, little retreat, also connect, of course, with the cave.
Workshops.
So I personally want to share, honestly, I don't know if I'm going to do gongs all my life. I am really addicted to that with Margherita. I'm really enjoying this period, But the dream is, of course, to at one point to detach also from that. Honestly, I like to think about that because it's a circle, it's a circle and it's a wave going up and down, and I believe at one point I want to detach from that in some way and just be playing the gongs, make some few gongs just to, enjoying that. And when, if I will be able to reach this point where, we have many people and friends around, and this community is done, we can, share. We are the most happy person into the world, So I believe the dream is to go back to simple life and keep doing what we want to do, not bring this, project too high and then you want to burn uh, yourself.
Yeah, when it becomes stressful or too busy, you start to lose the magic and the joy, and so you want to make sure that there's a balance there and the creativity is still there. Yeah, yeah. Well, two more questions. You touched a little bit on this, but I'm curious, when somebody first gets a gong from you, what do you advise them as far as like techniques and getting to play it? I suppose I know some gong players that don't even have flumies. So what's kind of your advice on just, getting to know a gong?
Right, you want to say?
I mean, for our gongs, I always suggest certain mallets and certain tools because, of course, the texture of a friction ball works better than another one. So it's really good, first of all, to select the right tools. Then I always say that you're free to experiment with whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, there are many things to talk about this. Like, again, I was the first without information about the mallet. I started making the gong and I was using a Tibetan red mallet from Singing Bowl. Okay, so then I tried another one and I was, wow, this is working better. And then the other one, and then maybe this is working better. Then I realized that maybe the old Tibetan mallet was good for some specific frequency, and the new one was good to give me more bass. Or so I don't tell who is a new beginner to get 10 mallet in the beginning. I personally, with Margherita, we advise to start with three kind of flumi and maybe couple of mallet. Okay, so I like to advise for any gongs personally this kind of approach. Of course, as you say, there are many gong players they don't even have the flumi. So and
for our gongs, I feel it's really a must.
Yeah. So for different reasons, some people they don't use the flumi in the usual gong. Also because with the usual gong, I experiment that is a little more complicated to control the sound with the flumi. In the Chinese Chow gong, the thick one, maybe is okay. You have more with the other ones. I had always also personally more
I think
difficult.
Maybe it's the wax on the surface of the gong that doesn't gives you the right grip on the metal. This could be one of the main of the reasons.
This could be one of the reasons, and there is also this scare from everybody. They don't want to, scratch and become the gong dirty, So, of course, we have to take care of the gong and be careful, what we do. Just be conscious, It's not like, but this kind of metal is a little more, it's more acceptable. What you can do. You can feel easier and less stress on that side. Anyway, we advise to use basically a big flumi to control the fundamental note of the gong. That I'm talking for our gongs, but I approach with this technique also the other gongs. So I can tell you,
nickel, silver, and bronze gongs as well.
Yeah. I try with some paiste also, and I see if you start to using these techniques, then you can approach the other gongs in this way. With a big flumi, we control basically it's interesting because the gong, you have the warm side in the center, and usually with the mallet, in our gong, you use the center to have the warm side, okay, the warm frequency. and on the edge you have the higher harmonics.
Not really the edge, just a little bit outside.
Yeah,
the
outside
center.
of the center.
Yeah.
Sorry.
For example, our gongs, we honestly never play the edge. Like, for example, you do on a nickel silver gong.
Yeah, sometimes some gongs,
yeah.
they have some game where you can use the edge, some others no. But so when you use the flumi, it's kind of opposite. You use the big flumi and you use the kind of edge to control the low frequency. That's where you can make the center resonate.
Yeah, and it's important to leave free the center of the gong. In this way, the bass can come out, because many people go in the center. You can have different sounds, but if you want the bass, you have to let that area free. Also, I always suggest to people to steal a little bit from the videos we do with your eyes to where we play, what we do. So in this way you can have an idea.
So what I can also say, and something that we would like to share during the workshop, if we're going to be able to do more, is that it's not about just the flumi. Some flumi is giving you some specific frequency, okay? But also your hand, yourself is what is generating the frequency, and so the distance of your hand from the flumi and the pressure. So you're basically three dynamics, the pressure, the distance of your hands from the flumi, and the speedness. The speed, how fast you go, So that's interesting, and that's the exercise, the yoga we do when we do gong. That's how we like to approach. Sometimes you can keep controlling like a singing bowl, the gong with a low frequency, and then you can jump to the octaves or to the octave or to the fifth with a smaller flumi, and then you can find a point and stimulate this point. So it's a game again of balance, and also when people get gongs, we try to advise everybody, these gongs, if you don't play in a specific way, honestly, I don't like the sound of these gongs. Of the gongs we do with Margherita, if you don't play them in a specific way, I have some difficulty, because I know that if you take a little more time and you start approaching them, getting information, and we are here to do that, and thanks to you, maybe we can do more. But you can really discover, I believe, and it's our fault maybe, that many people have our gongs and they discover probably 50% of what they can do, So so that's something really important, and it's where we want to start traveling and share more. Because again, I just did a gong yesterday, and I spent half an hour checking to the point, and it looks like an organ. After you understand your gong, you can really control the best sound that the gong contains.
Especially if you have a musical ear and you know which note you want to go.
Exactly.
Like now, this is the fundamental. Okay, now with the flumi I go to the fifth, and then I go to the octave, and I will have certain resonance. Also, sometimes in our gongs, if you find with the fifth or the higher octave, you have the bass, the fundamental note coming automatically by itself, like it resonates with the higher frequency by itself. So it's really nice to know and control these dynamics, but it takes time, of course. Also, we showed a little bit these friction ball techniques to gong players from a long time, and they were not used to use the flutes.
And also personal advice to be conscious, like to don't play the gongs too strong. I mean, I still see sometime when I pain, I'm kind painful because I see some yoga people really hitting the gong strong, and
so a suggestion we can give is to always be sensitive and also conscious of the people you're playing for, the sensitivity of the people you're playing for. So sometimes it's better to build the sound slowly, to start slowly instead of just striking. And also the right tools can help you in this way.
I do think that's changing. I agree, though. I mean, sometimes people think of gongs as, the crashing, the loud, intense but it seems like more and more people are getting more sensitive to the
Yeah.
subtleties and the space and the fade that happens with the gong, that it's not all about the big sounds. Yeah.
I want.
It can be nice because of course the gongs can bring you in certain places of yourself in the healing process, so it can be a part of it.
I want personally share something that I'm experienced. So just like the sound is a really sacred energy. Maybe you don't believe in God, maybe you don't believe into the universe. But I personally, I grew up in going in India, and I saw how the karma work and how the energy of the universe canalized sometime. And again, what I want to say, the energy of the sound is something really sacred, and you don't want to play like you don't want to use this energy like
in the wrong way,
in
with
the
the
wrong
wrong
way,
intention.
with the wrong intention, because it's really coming back.
Times worse.
Yeah, it's coming back, and then is exactly where you can go deeper in all the process. That's something I want to share, and other things I want to share, really important, that make me go crazy all the time. I sometimes I have into the tuning some period, some days where the tuning come out like really like a flow. Right now we do our guns using a process where I prepare some bass, and then I take a day to do some other process, and some days to do other, so I try to do production, of some collection of guns with and always what is interesting, and again last time happened, I find myself doing all these gongs. They come out so nice, and I'm like, wow, what is going on? And then I go out of the studio. In the studio where I am, there is no window because I close everything for the sound. So sometimes I go in, that is sunny, and I go out, it's night, So I go out, last time I went out again, and bam, there was the full moon, just over there, and I was like, wow, like that's so cool, In the beginning, I was like, okay, I came out from the studio and there was the full moon, and I was like, wow, nice, full moon. But after, 5, 6, 7, 8 time, I realized that was my most
precious time.
Yeah, where there was a really big flow, and I don't know how to explain that. I mean, I hear so many talking
some
about.
moons also you cannot tune a gong. Some moons you are super productive and they come out beautifully.
Yeah.
But it was really nice because we didn't realize the moon had this kind of effect. But if you are in synchronicity with,
yeah, I mean, I like to experiment with my personal experience, what I see. I grew up going in India, a lot of spirituality, but I also like to have kind of scientific proof of what I see. Especially in the healing world, where some people, of course, they get information, but maybe they're not really sure from where they got this information.
That's always good to check.
So I like to, we like to make sure, before, that's why we don't like to say we are a healer, or we use the cave like a healing thing. Of course it's healing because, we are doing what we like to do, and you are maybe happy to receive some sound, and everybody, share this experience, So that's what is sound healing for us. Sound healing is to also, of course, to have this journey in our sound bath. We saw that like a journey through the sounds and through the mood, the different moods, like the different ragas they have in India. So
different melodies, you can touch different emotions inside people. So for us, it's also a journey through emotion. We came out from a background as a musician, a singer, and percussionist. So we, in our sound bath, we also like very much to melt melody with also sounds, like pure sound like a gong. But for us, the melody is really important as well.
It's a way, I find it's a way to. I always found interesting, even with the percussion. I realized that when I was playing a beat in a certain way, you can create a mood, right? And then when you want to keep the energy more, you go a little faster and you put some accent. And then when you want everybody dance, you go strong, you start, creating that. And that means, to me, be connected with who you have around you. It's not just about you playing and jamming and inside you don't care. It's about be connected, be able to control the emotion of what I want and what everybody maybe wants, and try to control what we have inside. And that's where I feel you can communicate. So we like to use the soundbite in this approach. Thanks. I'm really lucky. There is Margherita. I have a great voice. So all these instruments, in the end, they are harmonized with her voice. But something you need to know is that except the cave, we don't have never so much time to practice. And every time the gongs are new.
If we're not in the cave, we don't have our own set of instruments except that one.
And so it's always kind of improvisation, everything in our life, everything is improvisation, and that's in some ways make me be a little anxious sometimes, like stressed, but like, oh come on, I want to be something, sure, but in the end it's cool because you have to be like, fully yourself and just express everything, like as it is, and that's cool,
Yeah, in that way, you're just really sensing the energy and the intention and the emotion if you don't practice and have it all planned out what you're going to do. Yeah, beautiful. Well, so last question, and you kind of talked about some of the experimentation you have going on and that I know you're going to be teaching a workshop in New York. What are kind of the next things coming up for you, goals that you have and things that you're really interested in right now?
Again, we are like projecting ourselves to be able to have more free time to come share with people that already have gongs and to make resonate these gongs more and more. So we are not teachers. Honestly, I'm really shy to come sometime run workshop. I'm the last one. Even my, language or stuff.
Also, our last one was our first one.
After so long, so we don't like to be in a position of teaching and nothing like that, just sharing.
Yeah, it's a sharing of our experience, what we learned in these years, a little bit just about our gongs bit. But some of these techniques, you can also use them on other gongs, so they can always be useful.
The idea is to, also in the summer, be able to invite people to come here in the cave. We don't like to, we don't like to have groups of many people, more like 10 people, 15 people, more intimate, where we can go deeper. Again, it's not about to have numbers, it's about to share in a quality way, become friends. And that's so cool, because the sound is just bringing cool people around us mostly of the time, So the plan, yes, is to be able to, again, to share more, in the concept of the new instruments we are think about to make, we are studying about the smaller version of the leaf. I would like to create also another stringed gongs, with a different approach. So I want to go deeper on the strings on the gongs. That's something really important. We already did this dream catcher, but there are that is tubulars with the gongs, and I want to bring this in some other level too.
So basically, maybe improving a little bit the experiments we already did, and now that we are able again to travel and to do workshops in person, not just on Zoom, which is great to be connected with people from all over the world, but it's not the same experience as being together and be able to show to someone how to hold the freaking wall. And it's completely different. Also, just by the audio, sometimes it's really hard to listen to what people to listen to gongs playing.
But I mean, we are also sure that this what is happening is so strong that even through the whole line, we had this so warm communication with different people that, again, was great, So a new experiment I would like to do. I don't know if if for who don't know, the monochord, is fun. It's interesting how to see the same note in monochord, resonate and start creating this voice, right? So I'm working on the monogong, so I want to do a monogong with many strings on it. So that's you are the first to know that is in process. And also I want to do an experiment because I ask myself, when you have so many strings creating then this voice, because when you use the monochord, you have a voice coming out that looks like humans. I don't know, looks like something special. I'm asking to myself if I do the same with like, let's say 8, 9, 10 small gongs. Okay, like I want to start with the small hand gongs. They're really also powerful, and they fly in the air so much with the frequency. So I want to try with 8 of them tuned in the same note. So I would like to see, if with a certain rhythm, and we can see what happened in the air. Honestly, Natalie, I'm like the surfer. The surfer are waiting for the perfect wave. I am always looking for the perfect sound of something new, or that's what we want to find.
Actually, this kind of thing to have gongs in the same tuning, we already do that during our sound journeys. Usually we put like ourselves into the opposite sides of the room, and we have this kind of, because of course, since our tuning process is completely handmade and by here, every gong, also if it's in the same tuning, fundamental tuning, they all have always different overtones. So it's really beautiful to hear how they melt together, the overtones. So we like very much to create this kind of effect. So also just even with 2 is amazing. So with many of them, it would just be crazy.
Just to have a whole room of, they're tuned the same, but of course they're all going to have their own overtones going on. So wow.
So we just back from Guatemala, Mexico, and Miami. We went to have a little break, of course, but the sound and the gongs are so present in our life that we can't travel without. So in some way, we went in Guatemala, where there is a nice community of yoga teachers in San Marcos, and we ship a gong, a big box of gongs with us, and it's cool because in the end, that these gongs is going to be in this place, and I have so many friends there. It was really wild, because it was not easy to bring them in Guatemala. But then we fly to Mexico, and we met other people that already had other gongs from us, and super cool people. So they bring us around. So it's nice how, again, when in this case it's the sound, but in general, the sound doesn't mean it's always something you can hear. It's about a frequency of your life, when you start vibrate with what you are asking, with your deep prayers. Of course, you don't ask for a Ferrari. You ask to be happy, to be able to do something, like that. So that is like really, you can see everything is like moving in the right direction in front of you. So of course, I like to be conscious, that this life is always so unexpected, everything, So be conscious. I feel the sound is something we must walk close to the wake up of the soul, to the consciousness. So the gong and this sound is a way to transmit something of your energy so much. Like the fire, when you cook the food, the fire is transmitting also who you are. So that's what I feel. How a mother cook for his son. So it's different from when you go get something from outside. The fast food, of course, you can see. So it started to be start to vibrate with what we have around, because there is a lot of sufferance and stuff like that. We are not, so it's these things of sound healing. It's not about we go and we close ourselves to what, you know, is our personal satisfaction, you know. It's about really to start have a, and I saw that many people are doing, you know. Again, we thanks all the gong community, because we met some great people, you know, like great people, you know. So again, all our love to everybody, because like, and we wait you, every single person, like we asked to come visit us, like in the cave, you know. We're gonna be here like to share, you know. We like to stop everything we do. So basically the cave is not open all the years. It's like we like to keep the cave natural. The cave have layers of clay on the roof and all around, and this clay is to also maintain the cave isolate from hermetic like water, you know. There is no rain inside, of course. So you don't want to dry the cave, you don't want to make the cave warm during the winter. And also is not the plan we have. Our plan is not to use the place as and maybe of course somebody else we do, and maybe also us, it was the only way to survive, to use this place like a commercial place to live out. Okay, so we are so lucky, blessed we can use this place just for go there in some specific period of the years, of course.
Summertime is perfect.
Summertime
we have natural AC from the cave.
So in the summertime you want to be there all day long. So we really go now there with musician, people there is into the sound, so become more sacred, you know, more intimate, you know, and that's really important for us. So again, is we can't ask something else to the universe right now. Anything more, yes.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's just beautiful to see how you've both connected, you know, through music and through sound. And it's almost like, you know, the spark of you two connecting and doing this experimentation has just been divinely led by the universe, I suppose you could say, because there's been so many magical alignments for you, and it continues. I mean, your excitement and all that you bring to the gong community, and I mean, you have gongs all over the world, and you bring that to so many people.
I don't know how. Promise. I promise. I'm just there doing the gongs with the cow. I go out sometime.
You don't have to know. You don't have to know. That's why it's special.
Honestly, really, that's what I do. And with Margherita, and of course, sometimes it's not easy. Is you know, difficult to follow.
That's a hard work anyway.
It's a hard work, but you know,
improve your body.
But yeah, you don't feel again. I don't think again so many gongs to tune so many gongs. I don't think you can do something like that if you don't really love what you do. You know, and that's where you forgot about the limits. So it's interesting. Sometimes like you forgot about your body even, you know, and you're about your because you are so into that doesn't affect. You know? So yeah.
Thank you so much, Natalie.
Oh, thank you both. And, you know, keep as long as you love what you do, it will come through your gongs. And, you know, whenever it does become a challenge, it seems like the experimentation brings back that creativity. So thank you both so much for the energy and passion and artistry that you bring to the gong community. You're so beloved. And we do want to, I think we all want to say thank you to the gong community for their support as well. So thank you both so much.
It's great way to really be all together.
To travel more, to be able to hug every single person.
That's the idea. Like
that's right.
Probably September, be back again to US a couple of times. So
good.
So we will really let you know, whoever have an idea, and we would like to come visit everybody, you know, just every day jump from a place to another, share be on service for who want to go deeper on that, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have a lot of people want to see you in person. So let us know how that comes together.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The gongs, they manifest these, you know, in some special place, special people. So it's like, you know, sometimes I found myself in a period of my life where I didn't saw so many friends around me in the style of life I want to have, or with the same the same mood, you know. But then, you know, boom, you know, the gongs started attract all around really cool people on the same, you know,
same page
vibe. And this is resonance, you know. That's the resonance, you know. That's the secret word. And that's the last things I want to say probably is like the resonance of everything, you know, is really going so strong, you know. I believe in this. I believe so much in that, you know, the resonance and the telepathy sometimes you have with people, that's resonance, you know. People talk about telepathy, but sometimes it's just resonance, you know. When you start thinking about somebody, and it's really happened to me so many times. I think about some people and they call me, you know, 2 minutes later, you know, and people that you don't talk with for months, you know, or and that's interesting, you know. It's a game of resonance. I want to do a new series, game of resonance.
Absolutely. Yeah, there really is truth to that. Yeah, and I think that when we were at the Gong Summit, we all, you know, became friends so quickly because of that resonance, that we were all suddenly we were around people that were passionate about the same thing. And yeah, that's where that resonance was just so easily found. Yeah.
Even without so much time to talk with each other, because there were so many workshops that we didn't have time to talk, but we all bonded so
but we had
fast.
some time to play, and that was important, you know. We had some time to play, and that was important, because when you do that, you skip, you know, you really already go in the place where you want to go, and you really open something, you know, and that's
you connect deeper. Yeah, you connect deeper. Yeah. Well, we'll have to do that again. We'll have to do that again soon.
Oh my God. Yeah, it would be nice to do it in Italy maybe one day. We tried a few years ago.
Right.
COVID and stuff. Because let's see in the future, you know. Yes. I hope, you know, the Gong Summit, the next one, can be also quality like the first one, with the same energy, you know. We don't look, of course, for many people, but good team of people to do it together and share, you know. And of course, push all the makers, other makers. I really advise to everybody to try the gongs from every makers. You know, you have so many great unique makers that maybe you don't know about, you know, but they are there and they are trying to grow also, you know. So let's see if, you know, the resonance is working also for them, you know. So don't never be close to, I advise also that never be close to, you know, okay, I follow this philosophy of gongs, or this is good to be open in everything life, you know. I hope, you know, for everything, just be open, because then you lose you can test some really great, you know, experience, you know. So.
Yeah, I think curiosity is a big part of learning. Yeah, just trying different things, right? Yeah. Thank you both so much for this. I really enjoyed talking with you and hearing more about your story. So thank you, and I'll see you again soon.
Oh yeah, come on. We're gonna come visit you sooner possible and play together. That's what we want.
Yes.
Bring from the last conversation we had. We were playing and we won't play more now.
Yes. Sounds good to me. Let's do it. Okay.
One day I want to build a violin gong for you.
Oh, okay. All right, let's try it.
Yeah, I mean, always be ready. It's good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again.
It'll be a good challenge. Okay, thank you both.
Thank you.
See you, Natalie.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Sound Heal Podcast, sponsored by the Om Shop and Spa. You can keep up to date with what's coming up next at soundshealstudio.com. check things out on Facebook at Sounds Heal Studio, and you can listen to all previous podcasts as well as music meditations on the YouTube channel at Sounds Heal Studio. Be well and stay tuned.